Welcome back everyone, hope your day's going well, hope it hasn't been too rough. We are going over my Swordsoul NHT or no hand trap deck profile that I'll be using for solo mode and solo 5-star speedruns. It's not really a competitive deck, it's mainly used for bringing out as many monsters on the field as I can, and it's got a lot of extenders for that. Before we go into the deck profile, I just want to say if you are wanting to do your own deck profile and using Master Duel, highly recommend uploading it to the card database, since whenever you zoom in on cards, it zooms in a lot better than just the regular deck editing thing. So starting off, we have 3 Tinny Spirit Adhara. We're going to go over the cards themselves, not necessarily their effects, but just how they're used in the deck and, just a generalization of it. So he's a level 1 Worm Tuner. Works the same way as all the other Tinny cards, but really good to potentially go into level 9 plays, is what I use him for. Next is 3 Tinny Spirit Vishuddha. So we're using Vishuddha mainly to get rid of cards on the field to return to the hand, or potentially using as a level 7 to go into level 10 or level 8 plays, depending on what's in my hand. Then we have 2 Tinny Spirit Ashuna. So again, level 7 worm monster, good with, with this one, I say good with, it works well as a good backup for Swordsoul cards, is a good thing for Moye to have, because in my test hands that I did with other cards, things like that, he was just the most effective out of all the ones that I found. In regards to if I have a bad hand with Ashuna in it, he has his effect where he could potentially go into a level 8 play, which is nice. So that's why I have 2 of him in the deck instead of some of the other options on there. The next Tinny card is 2 Heavenly Dragon Circle. So this is what I'll use to, send a Tinny onto the field with its effect, use this card to get a Swordsoul into my hand. So essentially these 2 Heavenly Dragon Circle, 2 copies to get another Swordsoul in my hand for the plays that I want to do with it. So speaking of that, the main thing, Swordsoul cards, I have 3 Swordsoul of Moye. She's the main starter of the deck. Level 4, can bring out a level 4 tuner, go into a level 8 Grandmaster, and then proceed off of the combos from there. Next we have 3 Swordsoul of Taya. So Taya is the third part of the combo that I usually try and get. The main thing I try and do is get Grandmaster, Baronne, and then Dragite. So having Taya there to be able to potentially, if I can't get Moye, using his effects could potentially go into Grandmaster works well, but mostly using him to try and get Dragite. We also have the, honorary Swordsoul, but Incredible Ecclesia the Virtuous. Can essentially special summon or normal summon herself onto the field if you're going first, to go into, most of the time I'm using it to go into Moye, to be able to start off my combo from there. Next we have 2 Swordsoul Strategist Longwan, because it's limited to 2 in Master Duel, otherwise I would have 3. But essentially this is how I go into Baronne most of the time with his effects, and usually is who I will search with Grandmaster if he's not already in my hand. We also have 3 Swordsoul Emergence, essentially just getting the Swordsouls to the hands. Then we have 3 Swordsoul Sacred Summits, essentially a monster reborn for Swordsoul, or getting a worm monster when I have a monster from, or a synchro monster on the field, which is what the deck is built around. And that's for the main deck. Now, the extra stuff that we have in the main deck, we have 3 Ascator Dawnwalker. What I found, like I said, with my combo play that I like to get is Grandmaster, Baronne de Fleur, and then Dragite. Well, Ascator can easily go into Dragite because it's non-specific for a level 8. So he can easily get in there depending on what cards I have in my hand. I do lock myself into synchros, but that's fine. Most of the time we're going to be using only synchro monsters. And then, unfortunately, what comes with it is 2 Fire and Ascator. Technically kind of bricks, but will work well with level 7s like Ashuna and Vishuddha to go into level 10 synchro monsters. Next we have 2 Assault Synchrons, essentially a level 2 tuner that you can get on your field for 700 life points. Very easy to bring out. You do lock yourself into synchro monsters while he's on the field. That's fine. I can go from a level 8 into a level 10 easily with this, so definitely makes for some interesting combo plays. Next we have 1 Destrudo the Lost Dragon's Frisian. Essentially, this is how I go into potentially level 10s with the level 7s, or a level 11 with a level 8. Which is why we have Psychic and Punisher, because you're paying half your life points for this. Definitely boosts up Psychic and Punisher's effect. Next we have our level 8s. So 1, Gizmekorochi. Love Gizmekorochi. Can banish cards to be able to bring itself out, so a very easy special summon for me. And the banish effects also help potentially with Supreme Sovereign or other options that we have on there. Next we have Dogmatica Fleur-de-Lis. Easy to bring out, especially once you bring out something from the extra deck, which is what this deck is built around. So another great way to bring out just another level 8 monster to go into level 10 plays, level 11 plays, or a 2500 beat stick. So not too bad. 2, Pot of Desires, just a good way to banish 10, draw 2. Works pretty well. And 1, Small World. Like having this because 1, it banishes monsters, which again can help Supreme Sovereign if he's on the field, but also can go into a lot of cards from the deck. So from the Worms into Dawnwalker if I need to, or vice versa, or from Tinyi into other Swordsoul. A lot of the cards sync with each other to where I can find a path to get to the card that I want. So pretty nice. So that is it for the main deck. For the extra deck, we have our level 7s, so Yazi, Evil of Yangzing. We don't really use a lot of level 7, but I have it in here just in case I do have to use it. So a good way to go into a level 4 Sword Soul if I'm going second and get to destroy a card. As going first, though, I would rather use this level 7 Clearwing Synchro Dragon, which can kind of block against level 5 or higher monsters and protects my synchros as well that I bring out. For level 8s, we have Baxia. Baxia is good for getting 2 monsters out. Usually I'll only use him with Taya because it is 2 types, and it is locked into, using a worm monster as the material, so that's why we usually use Taya for it. Draco Berserker. So Draco Berserker, don't really use a whole lot. Usually he is the one that I'll go into as a 4th synchro option with Dawnwalker if I already have my main 3, because he's a good going first level 8. Can banish something if it tries to activate in the hand, which is pretty nice, or on the field. Dragite, again, one of my main 3 that I try and bring out with the level 8. Moye is probably going to be in the graveyard anyway, so it can block those spell and trap cards. Grandmaster, the one that starts all of the combos, usually going with Moye to bring this guy out to get another Sword Soul into my hand, usually long one to go into Baronne. Level 9s, we have Vermilion Dragon Mech. So again, this is where Adhara goes into play, where going into, let's say, Grandmaster, if it's turn 2, Grandmaster into Vermilion Dragon Mech to pop a card and can still attack. Because if you're using it turn, on the turn it's summoned to use its effect, you can't even use his negate effect anyway. But that's what I'll use him for. And if it's a turn 1, usually going to be Shin Shin to block off the graveyard. Level 10s, we have Satellite Warrior. It's a good turn 2, and like I said, this would be one where Assault Synchron could power up with Grandmaster. Again, because Grandmaster can't use his effects on the turn you summon him. And then go from there to proceed into a 3500 beat stick and pop a card. Baronne de Fleur, the one that I want to get out for the Omni Negate and to be able to pop a card. Very, very nice for turn 1, even turn 2, depending on what's on the field. Swordsoul Supreme Sovereign. So he's one I'll bring out usually on turn 2, potentially turn 1, if the situation deems it, but most of the time going to be a turn 2 to where I can banish something to start popping cards on the field. Now Sinister Sovereign is another good turn 1 option for a level 10, so again, Assault Synchron can bring him out as well, probably first so that we get the draw effect, but also really nice to be able to just send cards to the graveyard once they activate their effects. Or banish, sorry, not send to the graveyard. Psychic and Punisher, this is the level 11, like I said, especially with Destrudo, get the boost up in attack points and be able to not be affected by your opponent's activated effects, which is nice. Then we have 1 Dingirsu, Orcus of the Evening Star. Don't really use him a whole lot in the test hands that I've done, but nice to have as an option just in case. Especially since usually I can get Grandmaster on the field and potentially one of the other level 8s to go into Dingirsu if needed. And then 1 Monk of Tinyi. I've seen in other deck profiles of Swordsoul, they have, 2 to 3, but because we're doing solo, we only need 1. And in the test hands that I've done, I've only had to use it a few times, never more than once though. So not too bad. But anyway, that's the deck profile. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.